The following production is produced by the State University of New York College at Oneonta.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Inside Red Dragon Sports. I'm your host, Geoff Hassard, the Assistant Director of Athletics and Sports Information Director here at SUNY Oneonta. Tonight we're going to have a little soccer theme as we look forward to our men's and women's fall seasons coming up. And after the break, please stay tuned and I'll be joined in studio by head men's soccer coach Ian Byrne.
Hate those screaming commercials on your radio? Well, so did we. That's why we created Oneonta Community Radio, WUOW. You can leave regular radio behind, just tune to 104.7 WUOW, bringing you arts, information, and entertainment from the State University at Oneonta.
Welcome back. Joining me tonight for my first segment of the weekly conversations is head men's soccer coach Ian Byrne. Welcome to the show, Ian.
Thanks for having me, Geoff. I feel like I finally made it in the big time.
Well, could you just give us a little bit background, how you found your way to Oneonta, maybe a little bit about how you played in South Africa and a little international experience, just so our audience can get to know you a little bit.
Sure. I was actually born in England. My father was a professional player in England. He did that till into his mid-30s, and then what was common for at that time was they would go abroad and try and get a couple more paydays before they hung up the boots, so to say. So South Africa was a hot place, and we moved over to Durban. My brother, myself, my mum and dad, and we settled in Durban. And my dad played for a team they called Durban City. You know, soccer was huge in South Africa at the time, as it still is, with the World Cup coming next year. And then we just got playing in the game. We got started. I was 7 years old. Actually, my brother was playing in England. He was 2 years older than me before we left. But I started organised soccer at 7 in Durban. And then we did our schooling in Durban. We grew up. We progressed through all the youth teams at Durban City, which was the big club. And then eventually I made it into the senior team. I left school and straight away I signed professionally right out of school. I signed for Durban City. I played my maiden season in the league for Durban City. At that time, we weren't the greatest team going. We'd held our own, but at the end of the season, I actually we call it transferred. Here you would call it traded, but I got transferred to one of the better teams in Pretoria. It's called Arcadia Shepherds. So I played Arcadia for 6 years, and we won a few trophies and did pretty well. And then I immigrated and I came over to the United States, 1985.
1985. Now you're starting your 7th season as a head men's soccer coach. You spent 6 years as our assistant when we were a Division I program.
Yep.
Now you went through the transition. You helped us through that D1 to D3 status. Yep. How did that affect recruiting? How did you go about making that transition for us?
It was different. One of the nice things is I didn't have to negotiate contracts anymore, scholarship deals with the students and the parents, which can be quite awkward at times. Sometimes it takes precedent over actually talking about academics and the college experience. And also we kind of narrowed down the search to New York State. Being a state school, predominantly New York students, it actually made it easier. Because we had a good feel for the area, for the state, recruiting the teams, the good club teams, the good high schools. So we just kind of dropped away from any, international recruiting, and just plowed all our, resources, time and travel and efforts into, getting deeper into the state and establishing better contacts with coaches.
Okay, well, and you've last 2 years you've brought in two pretty good classes. You opened up with a big 10-0 win over Cobleskill. A lot of young kids played, started, and contributed. So could you talk a little bit about those those kids and maybe a few people we want to highlight this year for who to look for?
Yeah, sure. You know, we had 4 freshmen and I think 4 sophomores starting in the first game yesterday. We have, you know, this year we brought in 4 players that ended up on one club team that won the region last summer. And they went and competed in the nationals for an East Fishkill team. And 2 of them actually met each other when they were up on a recruiting visit, on an overnight visit last fall. So I was recruiting those 4 individually off different club teams and high schools. And then, you know, it actually worked out good for us that they were already pairing up as roommates prior to getting here, just from playing it together through the summer. We also have a young player from the Albany area, Teddy DeCano, young left-footed player that's doing well. You know, the 4 East Fishkill kids started yesterday, and then Teddy came on and scored and had an assist. And then we have young Tyler. He was the 6th freshman we brought in. He came from Union Endicott. He's good friends with one of the sophomores that started yesterday, Tim Sagasti. And he played quite a few minutes yesterday. So we've got the 6 freshmen this year. We had, I think, 7 freshmen last year. And even last year, by the end of the year, 4 or 5 of them were starting. So it's a young team, but you know, I think that's the way to go. We're looking to build with young players. If we can bring in, you know, we only have a squad of 23 players. It's not a large squad compared to a lot of other schools that like to kind of mass recruit, if that's the word, and just bring in tons of kids. We try and be a little more selective. I try and watch all of them play myself personally. So I think it's a little fairer to a recruit knowing that the coach has seen him, the coach can tell him how he feels he would fit into the style of play.
Now, to mesh those kids together, I mean, obviously every year you're bringing a new group of, you know, soccer players, and how do you go about fitting them all together so that they work together as a unit? I mean, is it tough? Or?
Yeah, what becomes tough is you end up with 4 different groups of players. You get the seniors, the juniors. More often than not, the upperclassmen kind of bond together because they've been together for a couple of years, so they develop the bonds. You know, I think sport has its own language, and I think somehow through that, on the field, practicing, competing, it kind of breaks down barriers, you know, age barriers, gender barriers, race barriers. And I think once you start particularly winning a few games, that really integrates everybody together, and that's the building block for successful teams. You know, that team spirit comes from winning and everybody supporting each other.
So yesterday, you know, obviously a big win to start the season. Happy with the performance overall? Yeah,
you know, we had a couple of early scrimmages, and we were up and down a little bit, and then on Sunday we scrimmaged Hamilton, who were a tournament team, and we were fantastic. You know, we won the game quite comfortably. To be fair to Hamilton, we'd played a couple of scrimmages, you know, more than they had. It was their first scrimmage. But we really looked good, and we took it into the game on Tuesday. To be fair, Coble School have lost a lot of their players that they've had last year and in past years, so they were a little lighter than we kind of thought, and the game was wasn't as challenging as we were looking for in the first game. But you know, it was a good. You know, it was a good exercise for the guys. We played well. We kept the ball moving. Everybody obviously got to play, which is always good. So it's a good start to the season, I think.
Okay. Yeah. Now, right, sometimes when a game's one-sided, it's tough to tell how good you are or how, you know, but I was there for at least part of the game and saw that, you know, we moved the ball around. Is that the style of play you like, you know, move the ball around?
Yeah, definitely. You know, we want to be an exciting, attacking team. There's a lot of competition for spectators in town. It's not easy to get people to your games. And we want to be the type of team that rather than grinds out 1-0 wins, can win 5-2 and 6-3. Just don't tell our goalkeepers that. Yeah. But, you know, they're always looking for clean sheets. But you want to play good, exciting soccer, pass it quickly, attack, get players forward, you know, attack in numbers, and, you know, try and build a little bit of a legacy where we're known for it.
Yeah, okay. Transition a little bit into the very tough SUNY conference. Every year it goes 4, 5, 6 teams deep. I mean, Cortland won it last year and they were the 5th seed. So I mean, what are you looking for this year in the SUNY? We were picked to finish 4th in the coaches poll. Are we better than that? Do we think we're going to challenge? You know, what do you think about the SUNY this year?
Yeah, I think you know, we were fourth, but we were 1 point behind Cortland, and then I think there was a drop-off below us and above us. You know, Plattsburgh will always be, you know, a tough game for us. You know, they're one of those that brought in 20 players this year. They get, you know, they have a little bit of a niche with the Canadians with recruiting. And then Geneseo last year, they went undefeated in the conference. So they've been, the coaches see those as the first and second program, and then us and Cortland third and fourth. I think with a year under the belts of the sophomores, you know, playing last year, having that year under their belts, I think we can go one step further. We were disappointed to get beat in the playing game, particularly as we beat Cortland the week before 2-0, and we pretty much controlled a lot of that game. So it was a bit of a letdown to get knocked out. But, I mean, anything short of, you know, making the 4-team conference this year will be a big disappointment for us. And hopefully we can go all the way.
The goal, okay, I mean, now we're kind of in our second really year of being eligible for the SUNY and trying to get to that NCAA tournament. I mean, is the goal first to win the conference? I mean, because if you look too far ahead, you know, then you may, you know, stumble along the way. I mean, so what kind of goals do you have for this team?
You know, we sat and spoke about it, and really there's two goals, and it's simultaneous. You know, you attack them simultaneously. We want to try and win the SUNY conference, and we want to try and get an entry into the NCAA tournament. Those are going to be the two goals every year. So the two ways to get into the tournament are winning the conference, but if you don't do that, you've got to have a successful season, and then you're hoping for one of the at-large bids. So we're going to take, you know, each one of these games as they come, the non-conference games particularly, because those games can be the difference between getting in and an at-large bid if you do come up short in the conference. And particularly these conference tournaments, the last couple of years, they all come down to shootouts. They're very close games, very tight, low scoring, if there's any goals at all. So, you know, it's going to be hard to win the tournament. So we need to try and put together a really good season, and hopefully that will be the backing for us.
And you've done a nice job of building your non-conference schedule, because like as you said, that in-region competition is critical if you want to get that extra ranking within region for that at large, you know, I guess what we would call our pool C berth.
The biggest problem we have there is dropping down. A lot of these top teams that want to play us, it's finding dates. You know, the SUNY's quite a big conference, so we have the first weekend, which is this one, coming free, and then the next weekend we have the Mayor's Cup tournament. So it's hard to fit in some of the teams that want to play us, particularly teams like, you know, Stevens and Williams that are perennially top 10 teams in the country. We're trying to get them on the schedule, and we'll just keep working away. You know, hopefully we can squeeze them in at some point.
Well, we certainly want to wish you good luck this year as you go forward. 1-0 so far. Again, the Mayor's Cup is your next big weekend. We play Friday at 1 o'clock against William Patterson here on Red Dragon Field. That would be September 11th. And then the consolation game or the championship game is scheduled for Saturday, the 12th. So we certainly want to thank you for stopping by today.
Thanks for having me.
Good luck this year.
Thank you.
And well, after the break, we'll be joined in studio by women's head soccer coach Liz McGrail. Welcome back to Weekly Conversations. My second guest this evening is head women's soccer coach at SUNY Oneonta, Liz McGrail. Thanks for coming by, Liz. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Just want to give a little bit of background on you. Pretty much a local legend. Grew up in Stamford, three-sport athlete, soccer, basketball, and softball. And you found your way here to Oneonta by way of Campbell, a Division I institution where you were playing. Then you just proceeded to rewrite all the record books pretty much here. First All-American in women's soccer for us, 3 straight conference MVPs, Player of the Year. Basketball, we went to a couple NCAA tournaments as pretty much you were our 6th player or starter, off, main player. And then softball, we went to NCAA tournament. I mean, your senior year alone, we went to 3 NCAA tournaments. I know that was a pretty exciting time because that was right when I first started here, so I got to see right off the bat some of our best athletes. In a day of kind of a dying breed of three-sport athletes, you certainly were an outstanding one at that. So we certainly want to welcome you. And of course, we inducted you into our Athletic Hall of Fame last fall. So I just wanted to make sure that people kind of know who you are and embarrass you a little bit. But 2009 season, obviously we are going to look forward to another great year. You're picked to win the conference again. We've been to 11 straight NCAA tournaments now. We've won 10 SUNY championships in the last 11 years. Can you give us a little outlook on what you think you see this year from some of the players in the team?
Sure. We definitely have a target on our back, winning it 10 years in a row, our conference. But I think, the girls are used to that. They know. And from the day they're recruited, we expect to win our conference. And if we don't, it's a disappointment. So we set our standards pretty high for ourselves. I'd say last year was probably one of the toughest of the 10 that we won, being so young. And we had some key injuries in the beginning of the season that we lost some great players for the season. But with that, some of our 16 freshmen from last year got a lot of experience. And this year we have our largest returning class. Although a good portion of them are sophomores, they got a lot of experience last year. So we're excited to get going. Time will tell. But we've got some key players that are looking really good. So.
Now, upperclassmen, of course, we got Beth Cherry back from an injury last year.
Yes.
Certainly a leader in our midfield, and but she can play almost anywhere. She's an outstanding player.
Definitely.
How is she going to figure into kind of leading some of those younger players along this year?
She's still coming back from that injury. She's healthy, but she's still not in the game shape that she would like to be or that she's ever been at this time of the year. Right. So it's she's taken a different role with that, but still working hard. And we're actually going to start her leadership on the field in the center back position this weekend. Hopefully, with time, she'll move up into the midfield position. But I think with her leadership and coming back as a fifth-year senior, it's going to be real key back there with some younger players around her.
Okay.
So.
Now we also have. We had our entire defense returning, right? Melissa Vandenberg.
Yep. V is a senior and has started for 3 years in a row. So we're going into her fourth starting year, and she's just emerged into a great leader, both vocally and technically on the field. So I'm kind of excited her and Beth to be playing side by side to start off. Caitlin Burke, as a junior, is really stepping into, this is, I think, going to be her breakout year, and she's going to start in the center midfield position for her. So I'm kind of excited about that. And we've got Alana returning sophomore in the back, and we're hoping to get Erin Boyle healthy back. She's our other returning defender. Okay.
Now up front, who do we have who could be scoring some goals for us?
This year, I think our goal scorers are going to be Caitlin Burke, definitely is going to put in her fair share from the midfield, but I think Dana DeSimone has grown tremendously from her freshman to her sophomore year. She's having a great preseason. I can't wait to see her on the field. She's going to see some time up top as well as outside midfield where she played last year. And I think a freshman, Kayla Brentmeyer, is going to be one of our top goal scorers, I think.
That's certainly exciting. Another freshman. Of course, the last time we've had some freshmen that have made instant impacts would be yourself, and then someone who grew up in the same hometown, Mary Villan, who ended up, doing well and being an All-American as well. So it'd be pretty exciting to watch.
Definitely. I think she can be one of those players. She's showing some great stuff right now.
Well, that's good. Then we certainly will look forward to that. We want to make a note of that. Melissa Brantmeyer said?
Kayla Brantmeyer.
Okay,
yep.
So we want to make sure we make a note of that name because we're going to see her showing up in the box score. Opening weekend, you're going down to Kane, New Jersey to play in their tournament. We're going to open up against Muhlenberg. You haven't had any scrimmages or any really gameplay yet, so how do you look at that at the beginning of the season?
It is tough because you can definitely work out some kinks in scrimmages, and we've had a long preseason though, and with some injuries, the long preseason might have been better for us than trying to jump into a scrimmage. Time will tell. I think I switched the schedule around a little bit this year, where our tougher games are the second weekend. of the 2 opening weekends, or last year the last 2 years we hit off some really tough competition right off the bat. Muhlenberg and Keene are both pretty good programs, but they're not the College of New Jersey's and Ithaca and the William Smiths that are in the Final Four every year. So I'm looking forward to it. I think we're ready. You know, time will tell.
Yeah. Now when you talk about that second weekend, the Mayor's Cup tournament certainly has been running for the women. I believe it's 14 years now.
Years,
yeah, which is pretty exciting. They used to play down at the Hall of Fame, but now we're on campus sites. We're playing over at Hartwick on Saturday at 1:30 on the 12th, and you will be playing the College of New Jersey, who, as you said, is a perennial, national champion, and they've had their fair share. And then the next day, it doesn't really get any easier when we take on Rowan, who we played last year in the NCAA tournament in the first round. Tough, 2-1 game, but we certainly, those are the kind of teams that we want to play.
Definitely. When we're trying to get deep into the NCAA tournament. That's our goal. We'd love to, bring that national championship back to town. And with that, I think we need to be playing the competition that we're going to see in the tournament. And it's great to have them early in the season too, so the girls as a team as a whole, especially the young kids, see that that's the level that we need to get to. And maybe they'll show what we need to work on, and then when we have the rest of the season to work on it, and maybe we'll see them again down the road.
Okay. Yes. Good preview. In 2003, we played the College of New Jersey Mayor's Cup, and then all of a sudden they came back and we got them. So certainly hope so. The shift gears a little bit. SUNYAC, as you said, we've got we always have the everybody's gunning for Oneonta. They want to knock us off. That's the game on the schedule. How do you see the SUNYAC shaping up this week? Not this week, but this year.
It's tough to say. I know, Cortland got one of our top recruits. So they're always Cortland, the Plattsburgh, the Geneseo. They're always giving us some good competition. So you never take anyone lightly. You got to go. We're playing back to back, and let's see what we do. We take care of it day by day.
Now, different. You played for us. Now you're coaching the program. How different is that from? Obviously there is a difference, but like, what kind of a difference when you see? Because you were on the other side. You were recruited. Now you're recruiting. What kinds of things?
As a competition, or
well, we know you're super competitive. We know that. Obviously, you wouldn't be doing this. But as a player playing for the program, and now it's your program, and you get to put kind of your own mark on it. How do you want to do that when you're recruiting?
That's
the kind of players
a good question. I have, there's nobody I respect more than Dave and Tracy Ranieri. They're the reason I stayed here when I transferred here. The reason I love this program and fell in love with their philosophy. I really bought into it. And I'm just trying to continue that philosophy. Definitely there's a little bit differences in the personality of, Dave, Tracy, and I. It takes a couple of years, I think, to kind of shift this year. I can definitely see a little bit more of it being my program, but it's always going to be Dave and Tracy. Tracy built this program, and I just hope to continue. I think anybody that's played for this program kind of feels that little bit of ownership into it, and I'm just proud to stay a part of it. And I think having 2 alumni be my assistant coaches says a lot to that as well. Right.
It means we're not only getting great players, but now we're like breeding coaches who may go on and do some. And
it's one of the things that we strive when we're recruiting too. This is your family. This is your second family, and it's growing. It shows in the alumni support. I don't know if you'll find another program out there that has 3 alumni coaching together. It's pretty special.
Liz, we'd like to thank you for stopping by again. Good luck this year.
Thanks for having me.
And again, we just want to remind everybody, upcoming games this weekend, Mayor's Cup tournament for both the men and the women. Our men will be playing at 1 o'clock on Friday, September 11th against William Patterson. And then the championship and consolation games are scheduled for Saturday the 12th. The consolation games at 1 o'clock, followed by the championship game at 4. The Women's Mayor's Cup tournament, the women will open up on Saturday the 12th over at Hartwick College, playing the College of New Jersey, while Oneonta will then move back to our field, Red Dragon Field, on Sunday to play Rowan University at 1:30. And we'd also like to let you know that the field hockey team will have their home opener on Saturday, September 12th. That game is at 2 o'clock, and that is up at All College Field. Thanks again for joining me, and have a great week.